Okay, so you're here because you want to really get up to speed on something specific, right? We're all about that here. And today we're doing a deep dive into the Databricks Certified Data Analyst Associate exam.
Yeah?
Like, what does the certification actually tell us about working with data, out there in the wild in Databricks SQL?
Right.
We're going to get you up to speed quickly.
Absolutely. This is your fast track to understanding what this really means.
Yeah, so think of this as your shortcut to being well-informed about Databricks SQL and what this certification is all about.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we're going to unpack the certification by actually looking at some of the practice questions for it.
Ooh.
So this will give you a very tangible understanding of not just what Databricks SQL can do, but how you should think about data analysis within that environment.
Yeah, and what are those best practices that it's really testing you on?
Exactly.
Cool. So we have in front of us a set of practice questions for the Databricks Certified Data Analyst Associate exam. And we're going to kind of go through them, and we're going to figure out what the correct answers are, and more importantly, why they're the correct answers.
Right.
And kind of the thinking behind it. So consider this like your guided tour to demystifying data analysis with Databricks SQL.
I love it.
All right, so let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Question number 1, which layer of the Medallion architecture is mainly used for aggregated business intelligence and reporting?
Okay.
Right, your choices are bronze, silver, gold, or none of the above. What are you thinking right off the bat?
I'm thinking gold.
Gold? Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
So tell me why gold? Why is that the correct answer?
Well, what's insightful about this question is that it really highlights the distinct purposes of the different layers of the Medallion architecture.
Okay.
So the gold layer is specifically for that final stage of data refinement where it's aggregated, structured, and ready to be used. And this is the data that business intelligence tools and reports will directly query to inform decision-making. So if we think about the bronze layer, that's your raw, untouched data.
Good.
The silver layer is data that has been processed and cleaned, but it might still be very detailed.
Okay.
And then that gold layer, that's when it's really been shaped and modeled to fit a very specific analytical need and to drive those key business decisions.
Yeah. So the key takeaway for you is that the Medallion architecture is not just some theoretical model that you need to memorize for the exam.
Right.
This is the fundamental structure for how you build out these efficient data pipelines in Databricks.
Exactly.
And so when you get to that gold layer, that is the culmination of all that processing, and you finally get that actionable intelligence.
That's right.
All right, cool. So that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to question number 2.
Okay.
What is a key advantage of Databricks SQL compared to traditional databases? All right, your choices are eliminates indexing, enables distributed query execution, only supports structured data, requires Python for all queries.
Okay, so the correct answer is it enables distributed query execution for large-scale data.
Okay, so that sounds really important, especially if you're working with huge amounts of data.
Right.
Can you explain that a little bit more for our listeners so that they can really understand why this is such a big deal?
Yeah, so if we connect this to the bigger picture, we're often dealing with data sets that are massive these days, right?
Yeah.
And traditional databases typically operate on a single server.
Yeah.
And that can become a real bottleneck when you're trying to process that much information.
Makes sense.
Now, Databricks SQL, on the other hand, leverages the power of Apache Spark,
Okay.
which means it can distribute the work of processing a query across multiple computing resources at the same time. And that parallel processing is what enables dramatically faster query performance for large data sets.
Gotcha.
And that's a huge game changer compared to the limitations of traditional databases.
Right, like the old way of doing things.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so this distributed nature allows Databricks SQL to just like handle these huge data sets that would cripple traditional databases.
Totally. And it opens up possibilities for analyzing much larger, more complex data than you could have even imagined before.
Yeah, so the aha moment here is that Databricks SQL isn't just like executing SQL commands.
Yeah.
It's really leveraging this underlying power of distributed computing
Exactly.
to tackle these big data challenges in a way that just old school systems just can't match.
Right. It's really a shift
Yeah.
in how we're thinking about data and working with data.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let's move on to question 3. A data analyst needs to schedule and automate SQL queries in Databricks. Which feature should they use? Your choices are Data Explorer, Delta Live Tables, SQL Workflows, or external BI tools.
All right, so the feature that is really designed for this is SQL Workflows.
Okay, SQL Workflows. So that sounds pretty intuitive, right, if you want something to be scheduled and automated.
Right.
So tell me why this is the right answer and how this really simplifies a data analyst's life.
So this really speaks to the need for operational efficiency
Okay.
in data analysis.
Mm-hmm.
As a data analyst, you frequently need to run the same SQL queries repeatedly,
Right.
whether it's for ETL processes, generating reports, keeping dashboards up to date.
Yeah.
And SQL Workflows provides a built-in way to automate that entire process.
Okay.
So you define a series of SQL tasks, and you schedule them to run at specific times or intervals.
Gotcha.
This eliminates the need for manual intervention.
Right.
It streamlines your data pipelines, and it ensures that your reports and your data updates are consistently generated without you having to do anything.
So it's all about making it more efficient and less prone to errors.
Exactly.
So you set it up once.
Right.
And then Databricks just takes care of it.
It just runs in the background.
On that schedule.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. All right. Question number 4. What is a major benefit of Delta Lake in a Databricks environment? So your choices are ACID transactions and data consistency, eliminates schema enforcement, prevents data modification after ingestion, requires CSV format.
Okay, so the major benefit is it ensures ACD transactions and data consistency.
Okay, ACD transactions, that sounds like it's really important.
It is.
But maybe a little technical. Can you break down ACD transactions in a way that makes sense for somebody who's doing data analysis?
Yeah, so what's great about Delta Lake is the reliability it brings to working with these large volumes of data.
Okay.
And AZ stands for atomicity consistency, isolation and durability.
Oh, wow.
And these are foundational properties for ensuring data integrity during transactions.
Gotcha.
So, for example, atomicity ensures that a transaction either completes entirely or not at all. So this prevents partial updates that could lead to data inconsistencies.
Right. You don't want like half of a transaction to go through and the other half to fail.
Exactly. Consistency ensures that your data always moves from one valid state to another after a transaction. Isolation guarantees that multiple transactions happening concurrently don't interfere with each other.
Okay.
And durability ensures that once a transaction is successfully completed, those changes are permanent.
Gotcha.
They're not going to get lost.
Okay.
So for you as a data analyst, this means you can trust that the data you're querying in Delta Lake is not going to be corrupted mid-transaction.
Right.
Which leads to more reliable analysis and reporting.
Awesome. So for you, the listener, this means that Delta Lake is giving you this really solid foundation for your data.
Yeah, it's a much more robust and trustworthy foundation.
Right. So you can be confident that the data you're working with is accurate and consistent, and that's super important when you're making decisions.
Absolutely. Data is only as good as its reliability.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to question number 5. Which feature in Databricks SQL helps improve query performance on large data sets?
Okay.
All right, your choices are unpartitioned tables, JSON formats, partitioning and optimizing storage layout. Only select.
Okay, so the answer here is using partitioning and optimizing storage layout.
Okay, so performance is always super important.
Always.
Especially when you're working with lots of data. So how do partitioning and optimizing storage layout, how do they help?
So if you imagine trying to find like a single grain of sand on a huge beach.
Oh, fun.
Right, that can be a real challenge.
Yeah.
Partitioning is like dividing that beach into smaller labeled sections.
Okay.
So when you run a query that filters on the label of a section, like a specific date or a region, Databricks SQL only needs to search within that section.
Right.
So it dramatically reduces the amount of data it has to scan.
So you're not scanning the whole beach, you're just scanning like this little section over here.
Exactly.
Fair.
Now on top of that, you have storage optimization techniques.
Okay.
Like using the optimize command in Zorter, and that further organizes the data within those partitions to make it even faster to retrieve.
Okay.
So it's all about minimizing those input-output operations and making the data engine's job a lot easier.
Yeah. So it's all about being strategic with how the data is stored so that you're not wasting time looking through irrelevant information.
It's all about efficiency.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Question number 6. A data analyst wants to control user access to tables in Databricks SQL. What is the recommended approach?
All right.
Here are your choices. RBAC, with Unity Catalog Manual Database Encryption storing credentials in a table, limiting access to admins.
Okay, so the best practice here is to use role-based access control with Unity Catalog.
Okay, so data security and governance are so important right now.
Hugely important.
So tell us, why is this the best approach?
So Unity Catalog is this central hub for managing all your data assets within Databricks.
Okay,
So that includes tables, schemas, even entire catalogs of data.
gotcha.
And RBAC, which is role-based access control, is a method for assigning permissions based on the roles that users or groups have
Okay.
within the organization.
Uh-huh.
So with Unity Catalog, you can define specific roles with very granular permissions on different data objects. And then you can easily assign those roles to users or groups.
Gotcha.
So this ensures that only the right people can access or modify sensitive information.
Right, so it's all about like having that really fine-grained control
Exactly.
so that you're not just giving everybody access to everything.
Yeah, you don't want to just open it all up.
Right.
You need to be very strategic about who has access to what.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to manage, and it's way more secure than
Absolutely.
trying to do things manually.
Right.
Cool. All right, question number 7. What is a key feature of Databricks SQL dashboards?
Okay.
Choices are only exporting data, scheduling, and sharing interactive reports, replacing all external BI tools, requiring JavaScript for queries.
All right, so the key feature here is that they allow for the scheduling and sharing of interactive reports.
Okay, so dashboards are all about visualizing the data
Right, making it easy to understand.
and communicating those insights.
Yeah.
So what makes the Databricks SQL dashboards so great?
So what's really valuable is that they directly connect to your live data in Databricks SQL.
Okay.
So you can build interactive visualizations directly from your SQL queries.
Uh-huh.
And because you can schedule updates, those dashboards can automatically refresh with the latest information.
Right.
And the built-in sharing capabilities make it easy for teams to collaborate.
Yeah.
And to monitor those key performance indicators without needing to rerun queries or export data to other platforms.
Yeah, so it really boosts collaboration because everybody can see it.
Exactly. It democratizes access to those insights.
Right, and it's right there in the platform.
Right there at your fingertips.
Awesome.
Okay, question number 8. How can a data analyst efficiently ingest data from cloud storage into Databricks SQL?
Okay.
All right, choices. Manual uploads built-in SQL commands local storage before loading Excel processing first.
So the most efficient way is to use built-in SQL commands for cloud storage ingestion.
Okay, so cloud storage is where a lot of data lives these days, right?
Absolutely. So how does Databricks SQL make it easy to bring that data in?
So data often resides in cloud storage solutions like Amazon S3, Azure Blob Storage, Google Cloud Storage,
Yeah.
and Databricks SQL provides specific SQL commands like copy Y into tow, as well as the ability to define external tables
Okay.
that point directly to that data.
Uh-huh.
So this direct approach allows for really efficient and automated ingestion
Gotcha.
without needing to manually upload things or do any sort of intermediate staging steps.
Right, so it's just like a straight pipeline.
Yeah, it streamlines the process significantly.
Right, so you're not wasting time moving it around unnecessarily.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, question number 9. Which statement best describes how Databricks SQL integrates with external BI tools such as Power BI and Tableau? Choices. Completely replaces BI tools. Provides complementary features for quick in-platform analytics. Not compatible with BI tools. Offers fewer visualization features.
The best way to describe it is it provides complementary features for quick in-platform analytics.
Okay, so it's not trying to replace those BI tools.
Not at all.
Like a lot of people are already using...
It's really about complementing them.
Okay.
So while Databricks SQL has its own capabilities for quick data exploration and creating dashboards, it's also designed to integrate seamlessly with those BI tools.
Yeah.
So it's all about giving you flexibility.
Okay.
You can perform some initial analysis. You can create those quick visualizations right within Databricks SQL. And then for more advanced visualizations or dashboards with more sophisticated features, you can connect your favorite BI tool to Databricks SQL's powerful query engine.
Right, so you can do that deeper dive
Exactly.
with those dedicated tools.
Yeah.
Cool, so it's all about options.
Yeah, the right tool for the right job.
Awesome. All right, and last question number 10. A data analyst is working with a column that contains array data. Which function type should they use to manipulate elements in the array?
Okay.
Choices. Functions for arrays. Functions for numeric values. Functions for joining tables. Functions for text manipulation.
The answer here is functions specifically designed for working with arrays.
Okay, so that sounds kind of obvious, but what does this really tell us about Databricks SQL?
So this actually highlights how Databricks SQL is built to handle these more complex data types
Okay.
that are becoming so common So modern data sets often include these nested structures like arrays or JSON objects.
Right.
And Databricks SQL provides a whole set of specialized functions
Okay.
that are designed to query, filter, and manipulate elements within these array structures.
So you can work with those complex data types without having to jump through a bunch of hoops.
Exactly. It makes it a lot easier.
As you're reflecting on all of these different topics that we covered,
Yeah.
what area of data analysis in the cloud are you most interested in, or do you think is the most critical? And how do you think that mastering that concept is going to help you become even better at getting insights from data?
That's a great question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.